Have you ever gotten sick and realized it in the moment? Almost as though you can feel the sensation of your body battling it while it creeps through you, fighting off the affliction. You can feel your body doing its best to rush to aid, while the rest of you begins to feel as though it's impaired, while it focuses on the problem. Games have a similar infection, or rather, a toxin. Before I get started in this video, I wanted to put a disclaimer. In this video, I bring up some topics that can be considered sensitive, and while I do not condone the behavior of those brought up, I feel as though mentioning these topics are important. And if you're struggling with mental health troubles, I left a link down below to resources that are there to provide help. If you feel as though you need to talk with someone, I strongly urge you to consider them and stay safe. This video is one I didn't want to make, not because it is a bad or boring topic, but rather it pains me to see this within our communities. Toxicity. Toxicity is a serious problem in many hobbies, but gaming especially has had a tough time handling it, and I wanted to use my resources to help bring awareness to this issue. Toxicity comes in many forms, but we need to look at the definition to understand what exactly toxicity is. As defined by Merriam-Webster, toxicity is the quality of being very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. In other words, it's intentionally trying to cause discomfort and attacking someone or something on purpose. Now, toxicity isn't a new concept in games, but while I was researching for this video, I came across some studies that surprised me. For a majority of you watching this video, I'm sure you played games and experienced the trash talking of an open lobby or all chat. But trash talking isn't the same as toxicity. You see, gaming holds very few boundaries to entry. What I mean by that is, it doesn't take a lot to get into gaming or the communities around them. There are hardware requirements, yes, but there isn't a physical requirement to start. You don't need to be in any sort of specific health or pass an interview to play. You just download the game and you get going. All walks of life are able to join, and the communities that form around games are as diverse as you could imagine. Most people who play games state they have a positive experience that can be attributed to them. This is confirmed by a study conducted by the Anti-Defamation League, who I will be referring to as the ADL from here on out. The ADL is an anti-hate organization that was founded in 1913 and has been leading the fight against hate speech. They conducted a survey last year that explored toxicity in games and the impacts it has had on both players and communities. This study was conducted across many different games and genres. They asked players to fill out surveys that were designed to help find correlation between toxicity and player health. So let me ask you, what percentage of people do you believe experienced harassment while playing games? 30%? 40%? Maybe you've played competitive games and feel as though it's closer to 50 or 60%. But listen to this, 81% of players have been harassed in some form of online games during 2020. That was a 7% increase from last year, with most of the players saying they were harassed for things such as their gender, race, sexual orientation, or their religions. Out of those who were harassed by toxic players online, 10% of them stated those experiences worsened their symptoms of depression and increased the likelihood of suicide. This isn't just banter or trash talk. Trash talking is a part of competition and the mind games people go for when they're playing. Trash talk is the banter. It's poking fun at one another in a friendly, teasing manner, and the attempt to get them from getting inside your head during a match. Think weigh-ins in UFC, or saying you're a better sniper and trying to challenge a player to a 1v1. Those are banter. And back in the days of games like Halo or Call of Duty, getting asked to a 1v1 was a fun challenge, somewhat of putting your money where your mouth is. You win or lose, either way you put your skills to the test and have a fun match with someone, as opposed to toxicity on the other hand. Toxicity is far worse than the banter of saying how you're going to win in a lobby. Toxicity is the poison of gaming communities and will spread throughout, infecting those who are enjoying these games. The problem is, publishers and the communities around these games are not taking this as serious as it is. During a GDC conference in 2017 called Trolls: The Cost of Doing Nothing, Jeffrey Lynn of Riot Games is quoted saying, "A user who experiences toxicity is 3 times as likely to quit." Think about that as a whole. Someone who plays a game, gets flamed by their team, or harassed in a lobby is 3 times as likely to leave that community. This isn't just the typical genres that come to mind, like MOBAs and shooters. Toxicity is prevalent throughout all parts of gaming, from the games that come to mind first like Valorant, Dota, or Rocket League, all the way to games like Minecraft and Animal Crossing. Yes, you heard me right, Animal Crossing. In that ADL study I mentioned earlier, they also studied what games players experienced harassment on, and as you can see, there is a lot of them. Toxicity drives those who are the biggest and most prominent members of these communities away. This is why you see things like streamers complaining about people stream sniping. They stop playing the game completely, or worse, their mental health takes a toll. Communities and games have a higher ratio of minorities within them. Those who are already subjected to harassment and violence chose games as a form of an escape, and are now seeing the same hateful behaviors online as they do offline. And if I'm honest, that's depressing. You see, games have become much more than just a way to spend some time or have fun. They become a place for those who feel as though they are not accepted or are not part of a community to come together with excitement for a game. A place for them to discover new interests with others and to learn more about the game and ultimately create friendships with one another. Now, not all of that study by ADL was on the negatives. They also mentioned the percentage of players that have had positive experiences with others and what some of those experiences were. So you know that 81% of players have been harassed on games, but I bet you didn't realize that in the same study, it found 95% of players noted they had positive experiences while playing games. Whether it was another player teaching them about the game, making friends with that random they played with, or finding a partner for some. Games are unique in that they are active ways to enjoy a common interest with a community, and to enjoy the interactions with one another, creating friendships that were impossible before. Gaming allows you to both compete with one another and join a community with a shared interest. Someone from the other side of the country or another country altogether can hang out with a friend they made online, all while in the comfort of their own space. Toxicity pushes those who are a part of these communities out by exposing them to harassment, threats, and in general, creating a space that feels unwelcoming. And although many games have report system and moderators, the responsibility is left up to us, the community members, to avoid letting this poison spread throughout these games. Toxicity is a strong force, and it pushes those who enjoy these games to leave or stop playing. Ultimately, it's the downfall for many online communities. So what can you do, you might be asking? I already report players anytime I see someone toxic. What more is there to do? And that's fair. Reporting only works so much, especially when it feels as though there is no action taken when you do report. My advice is to speak up. Something as simple as saying, "Hey, you're being toxic," might be all it takes to have someone realize how they're acting. And even though it might not work for everyone, even if it changes a single player's attitude, that impact is felt throughout. Look at it like this. If that one toxic player keeps harassing people, eventually it leads to more toxicity in the community. Maybe another player in that game is toxic in retaliation and can't shake that mindset going into the next match. It keeps on spreading as they run into more people. But if you're able to stop them from spreading that negativity, what might feel like a small impact can lead to more positivity throughout the entire community. Games are amazing for those who feel out of place or lonely to come together to share an interest in a hobby or a game. In order to get rid of toxicity, We need to, as a collective, grow and stand up for those who might not be comfortable voicing their discomfort. Whether that is getting that one lane that's tilted to calm down, or teaching someone how to mute another player, they're all ways of doing your part against toxicity. Games need to change their community's behaviors and the toxicity within them. And although developers have done their best to combat this, the problem is still rampant among them. It falls to the players to combat this in order to create a space that everyone can feel safe and comfortable in order to finally enjoy the communities and friendships that are possible within gaming. That is how toxicity needs to be addressed in order to bring out the beautiful experiences that we know are possible within gaming. Peace.